Attention passionate Philadelphia, EAGLES FANS. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Philadelphia Eagles' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Philadelphia Eagles fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Philadelphia, EAGLES FANS. Let's get to the news. Now, Eagles fans, I have to say, what a roller coaster of a game we witnessed this past weekend. You know, the kind of game that keeps us glued to our screens, heart-pounding, wondering if we're going to see our team pull off another miraculous victory, or if the wheels are going to come off entirely. And honestly, this game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was one of those contests that encapsulates everything we love: the highs, the lows, the drama, and the undeniable resilience of this Eagles team. But let's start from the beginning, because it was a first half that had us all dreaming about another dominant performance, one where everything seemed to click perfectly. The Eagles, led by Jalen Hurts, came out firing in Florida, as if they were on a mission to remind everyone why they are considered one of the most exciting teams in the league right now. Hurts was surgical, threading passes with precision, making clutch throws, and orchestrating drives that kept the Buccaneers' defense on their heels. The play calling was inspired, mixing run and pass with such finesse that it seemed impossible for Tampa Bay to stop them. And when you combine that with a defense that was flying around, making tackles and forcing turnovers, it looked like this game was going to be over before halftime. By the time the scoreboard showed a 21-point lead for the Eagles, it felt like a foregone conclusion. You could almost settle into your recliner, confident that the game was over, that the Eagles had already claimed a solid victory. That first-half performance was a thing of beauty, crisp, disciplined, and relentless. It was the kind of football you'd hang in a museum if you could. Hurts was on fire, completing 14 of 16 passes, and everything looked smooth, coordinated, and unstoppable. The offense was clicking on all cylinders, and even the defense looked like it was in control, making key stops and keeping Tampa Bay's offense at bay. But you know, football is never as simple as it looks at first glance. And just as we've seen so many times before, momentum in the NFL can shift on a dime. And that's exactly what happened here. The script flipped in the second half, and suddenly the Eagles looked like a completely different team. The precision, the confidence, it all disappeared. The offense, which was so dominant, suddenly couldn't find its rhythm. And Jalen Hurts, who was so pinpoint accurate in the first half, struggled to complete a single pass after halftime. He finished 0 for 8 in the second half, which is almost unfathomable for a quarterback of his caliber. The offense was stalling, turning into a shell of its first-half self, and it left us all scratching our heads. How could a team that looked so unstoppable just a few minutes earlier become so listless? Well, the truth is, the Eagles' second-half collapse isn't just about Hurts. It was a collective issue. The entire offense seemed to lose its way. The offensive line struggled to protect Hurts, the play calling stalled, and the lack of sustained drives meant the defense was left on the field far longer than it should have been. And when your offense is only able to produce 5 3-and-outs in an entire half, that's a recipe for disaster. Now, here's where things get interesting. Despite this offensive dry spell, the Eagles managed to hold on and secure a 31-25 victory. But this wasn't a game we could simply celebrate for the win. No, the real story was the second-half collapse. It's a trend that's starting to raise some eyebrows among Eagles fans and experts alike. Because, let's be honest, winning games on grit, talent, and clutch plays is fantastic. But if those issues in the second half aren't addressed, it could spell trouble down the line. And credit where it's due, the defense and special teams stepped up in critical moments. Rookie linebacker Jihad Campbell was a hero, intercepting Baker Mayfield in the end zone and snuffing out what could have been a game-tying drive. That kind of play shows the resilience this team has. The defense kept fighting, kept making plays, even when the offense was sputtering. That interception wasn't just a game-saving play. It was a symbol of the Eagles' grit and determination. But it's also a reminder that this team needs to find consistency across all phases of the game if they want to contend deep into the postseason. Let's talk about the offense, because that second-half performance exposed some troubling trends. Sirianni mentioned that it's hard to operate at a fast tempo when you're not successful on first and second down. And that's exactly what happened. The Eagles couldn't sustain drives, and their inability to move the ball put immense pressure on the defense. Meanwhile, Saquon Barkley, who's been such a key part of this team's offense, had a tough day. Managing only 43 yards on 19 carries, he admitted after the game that he needs to own the blame for the stagnant ground game. But here's the interesting part. Despite that, the Eagles are 4-0. They're perfect. They're undefeated. It's almost surreal when you think about it because, at the same time, they haven't played a complete dominant game from start to finish. What does that say about this team? It highlights their resilience, their talent, and their ability to win close games, but it also exposes some glaring issues that could come back to haunt them. They're winning on grit and clutch plays, but if they don't address these second-half struggles, they might find themselves in trouble against tougher opponents. It's a fine line between a team that's thriving on positive momentum and one that's flirting with disaster. And trust me, the NFL has a way of exposing those cracks when you least expect it. Now, the Eagles' season so far has been a strange roller coaster. They sit at 4-0, a perfect record, but their performances have been inconsistent. They've shown flashes of brilliance, but those second-half collapses are a cause for concern. Because the NFL playoffs are a different beast. Teams that are dominant one half and non-existent the other often find themselves on the outside looking in come January. The Eagles know this. Sirianni knows this. And I'm sure the players are well aware of the need to tighten up in those critical moments. Looking ahead, this game serves as a real wake-up call. It's a reminder that winning in the NFL isn't just about talent. It's about consistency, discipline, and mental toughness. The coaching staff will undoubtedly be reviewing every play, every decision, trying to figure out how to keep their team focused and executing for 4 full quarters. Because if they don't, they risk unraveling in the face of tougher competition. The NFC East is still wide open, and with teams like the Cowboys, Giants, and Commanders all vying for supremacy, every game is crucial. And let's not forget, the NFC is stacked with talented teams this year, so the Eagles need to be at their best. Jalen Hurts, with his dual-threat ability, is a key piece of that puzzle. His ability to make plays with his arm and legs gives this team an edge, but he also needs to learn how to maintain that level of performance throughout the entire game. The second half is where champions are made, and right now, the Eagles are still learning how to stay consistent when it matters most. But there's a lot to be optimistic about. The talent is undeniable, and the coaching staff, led by Sirianni, has shown they're capable of adjusting and improving. The defense, with Jihad Campbell making clutch plays, is young but hungry. The offense, led by Hurts, has the potential to be unstoppable when everything clicks. They've already proven they can win close games, and that mental toughness is a trait that champions possess. The key moving forward is addressing those second-half issues and making sure they don't let games slip away in critical moments. So, Eagles fans, what's your take? Are you worried about this trend of second-half struggles, or do you believe this team has what it takes to fix those issues and push even further? Do you think Sirianni and the coaching staff can get them to play a full 4 quarters consistently? And what about Hurts? Is this just a blip, or is there a deeper pattern that they need to address? I want to hear all your thoughts because, honestly, this season is shaping up to be one of the most intriguing in recent memory, and the Eagles are right in the middle of it. Remember, the NFC East is fierce, and every win counts, especially when you're competing against teams that are hungry for a shot at the postseason. The Eagles have shown they have the talent and the heart, but they also need to sharpen their focus and close out games more convincingly. Because, let's face it, in the NFL, the margins are razor-thin, and a second-half collapse can cost you everything. But I believe in this team. I believe in the coaching staff's ability to learn and grow from this experience. And I believe that, with a little more consistency, the Eagles can still be a powerhouse come December and January. And now, Philadelphia Eagles fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Philadelphia Eagles. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Philadelphia Eagles news. Thanks for watching, and as always, fly, Eagles, fly.